So asking the questions, not assuming a damn thing.
But like if you are trying to communicate with one another, no cursing. Hello and welcome to episode number 9 of the Glued Together podcast. We are just still working through it here with timing and microphones, but I had said this in a previous podcast that like we are like follow through. I used a better word, but like follow through is kind of like our theme for this podcast and for life. Consistency. That's the word I said. Yeah. Yes. And it feels the same. It feels the same for right now. This is our parent or family episode. No, it's not.
It's not quite.
It's not quite. Okay, that's fine. But we do have some parent and family questions. Okay, we need more questions, people.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions, which is awesome. We are wanting to dedicate one episode and hopefully more eventually to just our fellow parents.
And also other themes like relationships.
Yeah. We definitely get a lot of relationship questions, which we love.
Right.
And love honestly, it. You've probably heard us answer a bunch already, and we definitely want you to keep them coming. And we want some other theme suggestions. So Glued Together podcast at gmail.com.
Yes.
Is where you can send us your ideas or your theme inspirations.
Questions, really. I think the questions. Like, yes, themes 100%. But I think questions are really helpful, right? And even like Jaylee and I feel like we sway back and forth between being like, should we just do a pod where we just like tell our story about something and that's the whole episode? Or should we always have the questions? So we're just learning and discovering, and we want, we're having a lot of fun making the podcast.
Definitely. No, it's definitely fun for us. We really do love answering the questions though, too. It just feels fun to hear about what you all are even interested in.
Yeah, I think just like overall, we want y'all to have fun too, and we really appreciate all of the viewers and listeners. We've been getting like 1,000 views on averages now, and it's kind of like slowly going up. So I feel like I'm gonna take it. High five to us. Like, oh, you're really far away. High five to us. I love how you didn't even move. Like you just expected me to come all the way over. You were just like, you come to me. Thank you very much.
Because I have a different relationship with my mic than you have with yours.
Oh, right.
And I am working on staying
gotta warm up to the mic.
Next to my mic.
Yes, warm up. You've got to
feel being very
love
cozy and comfortable and let my hair down with my mic.
Yes, I love it. Okay, I get it. So today we are like I'm in half workout and half pajamas.
I just finished my cycling class on my Peloton bike, and I still have a lot of sweat and workout clothes on.
So for glistening.
Yes, definitely glistening is not just this room, which is typically a sweat box.
But I felt like it was a good theme for like what it is to just like be two grown-ass folks with a kid having jobs and trying to do other things that like make them happy, and sometimes you just gotta like show up how you are. I think that we need to give ourselves and other humans some more grace when they just like show up in their workout clothes or show up in their pajamas. Like, it's fine. Life is not that serious. It's okay. Just show up. That is 99% of all of it. The extra 1% of wearing a fabulous outfit, it's great. Everyone loves to get dressed up, but, giving us full permission to just be who we are today. And for you to be who you are today. Like, full permission today.
I always do better when I don't overthink my outfits anyway.
Right.
Like, when I look at myself, like, on a day where, like, I didn't think I got ready, I'm like, oh, okay, I see you.
Hey there. Yeah, actually, this stems into we are going on a trip this weekend. Very excited to Pennsylvania, or as Antler would call it, Transylvania,
Transylvania from Vampirina
Right.
on Disney Plus.
which is funny.
Disney Junior.
That's kind of a funny name.
Yeah.
Transylvania.
It's a
Given
fun
the
little
context.
vampire show. It's
Yes.
cute.
And we were packing, and it's only for 2 days. It's just 2 nights, quick trip, leaving on Friday, coming back late on Sunday night, go to visit family, check out the area. And I picked out my outfits in like 5 seconds because I just know I'm just picking something like comfortable, casual, you know what I mean? And Jamie has a history of overpacking, but you've gotten way better. And I just kept telling her, like, just wear what you know you're comfortable in and you know looks good. Like, we don't have to recreate an outfit. Like, we don't have to be the best. Like, just something you're comfortable in. Go for it. It took you a little bit of time, but you got there.
Yeah.
You still packed an extra outfit, but
I would be lying if I didn't say
you're
like,
rethinking about it.
that I haven't thought about it a few times today, that I should go in there and like sneakily switch something out.
No, you need to pack our toiletries. That's more
Well,
of
yeah,
your
I
responsibility.
didn't get to that yet.
I made a list for you.
Today has been a day for both of us.
Yes.
I had a lot of compassion for you earlier. Oh my gosh. Aiden tried to go to the gym 3 times
Well,
and had to return home
Yes.
each time after going all the way there.
Yes.
Because
But even before that, the problem with that was that was annoying. But the real dilemma is that Antler slept terrible last night.
yeah,
He
that
was having like dreams and, coming into the bedroom and putting him in bed. And I was like, oh, Jane Lee has her new moon ceremony tomorrow, so I'll take all of the responsibility. But then by 3:30 in the morning, I had been up like 6 times. And I was just like, I'm mad at you now.
tapped out.
Yeah, I'm tapped out. I'm mad at you because I'm like, yeah, she could take a nap. Like, I gotta go to work. Well, like all these things in my head, and then I just, then I was just like, I'm not doing it. You do it. And so then I was like, I didn't wake up on time to go to the gym. So then I went later, and that always it just like spirals. And then my headphones weren't working, and I forgot my gloves. It was so annoying. I left this house and I didn't get to the actually working out to like an hour and a half after I had left, which is the whole time it would have taken me to work out. So
Yeah.
I was quite annoyed, but I felt the workout helped. And I just, I've gotten better at my anger. I've worked a lot on my anger issues. And so I think I just let it go, like through the workout and just like being okay. I had a dream that I got all this cash. Cha-ching. So I felt like, I'm going to play the lotto or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something. I'm doing something with the money. I was getting cash at, like, when you pay for something at a self checkout and they give you the cash, your change. And they gave me $53 in cash or like something like that. And then they gave me another $53 and another $53, and it just kept putting out $53. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. The universe saying you got to think bigger, baby.
I know. But then the underlying layer was that there was someone behind me who noticed it, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is free cash. Take it. And I was like, I'm going to get caught. Like, they're going to know and come for this money. So it's not even worth it. I should just leave, let someone else deal with it. You know what I mean? As the theft, the thief. So, but all that to say, it was a rough morning.
We could unlayer that a lot, but we won't. We don't.
I
we don't
know.
have to
I've
on this
already.
podcast.
I know. I've already unlayered it in my brain a lot. Not
We
unworthiness.
unlayer,
That I can have that money. That no one's gonna take it from me. All of those thoughts have already occurred. But I'm happy to talk more about it. So all of that to say, it's been a day, and it's only 12:54.
So today's the new moon in Virgo.
Yes.
And neither one of us really have Virgo or other Earth planets in our astrology charts. And
but I have my mom, and she's a Virgo.
Yes, and she's holding down the fort because
She's holding down the Virgo fort. She's out there organizing, cleaning right now.
So the Virgo energy is a little bit destabilizing for us, I think, even for Antler. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a day. I am running my new moon in Virgo circle tonight at the Healing Center here locally. And so I've been working on that. And I told Aiden, I was like, because I don't have that much Virgo energy in my chart, it just has felt like harder, and like I've been over planning and like just whatever. So I do appreciate you letting me sleep a little bit more, and just, yeah, because I definitely don't think I could have taken a nap today, because I would have been like,
Yeah, it's true.
I
There's a lot
have
going on.
too much to do.
Yeah, it's true.
So
It's true. I think you're still building your self-confidence in that arena, though.
which one?
Just the new moon ceremony. I
I
mean, you've
think
done a million. I mean, it's not about your
Well,
ability. I think it's like your inner needing to check the list like 7 times before you're like, okay, I'm ready. You know what I mean?
I am naturally much more, or I should say historically, I have been much more of a one-on-one person. And groups have always intimidated me a little bit. But I've really come out of my shell a lot, and when I do it and I just step into it, I do great. It just it shows up in the over preparing and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, today there's certain things that I just can't, I actually don't have time to do, and I know that I'm prepared, so I'm just stepping into it.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Thanks.
So the glue.
The glue, he remembered the glue because I forgot the glue.
My glue, I'm just gonna do for today. Okay.
Just for today.
Yeah, my glue for right this moment.
Okay.
You know. My glue, and glue meaning I was in kind of like the literal sense of feeling like I was falling apart and everything was shattering and my day was gonna suck. My glue came through a text message from my mother of a picture of our garden. And I didn't even tell Jaylee yet, but I saw a little bulb on one of our pumpkin flowers.
So there's really a pumpkin growing?
So, fingers crossed, there's a pumpkin growing.
Yay!
The story of this is that my mom last year in her garden just put her pumpkins in one spot and just let the squirrels eat them and let them disintegrate and turn into nothing. And there's a pumpkin growing. We like have a patch. There's so much pumpkin. It ate all of the cucumbers grew well because they were ahead of season, but our tomatoes are like crappy, right? Those tomatoes did not grow. We had an eggplant, but only one grew, probably because it just didn't have enough water and space. Like, we just had a lot of things that didn't grow as well as they have in the past. And this, every day you go out there, it's another 4 feet of vine. It's obnoxious. It's like one whole half of the yard. Then we have built this cage to put corn and strawberries and blueberries so that the birds can't get to it. And it grew over the cage. It's coming out one way over the cage, down the other way, through the back of the cage. It's all over. And forever, I think I even talked about on this podcast, I thought we were not going to have anything because we only had male flowers, but I finally saw some female flowers. There's not a lot, but
Exciting.
yeah, I will keep
We've
everyone
always wanted
updated.
to grow pumpkins.
I know the pumpkins are so cute.
We love the fall, and
Yeah, and pumpkins are cute,
Halloween
and you
season.
can eat them. You can carve them. You can paint them. You can just having a pumpkin like on your front porch. We went to Costco, and I like hold your feelings aside for a moment. But we went to Costco, and they had those really big pumpkins, and I almost if we had a cart, we went in with no cart. So we were like,
I wasn't gonna let us buy a pumpkin there.
I would have bought a pumpkin if we had a cart. It would have happened. I would have put it in there. You would have not been able to take it out because these things are humongous.
No.
And I would have walked out with my pumpkin.
Absolutely not.
It would have happened. She
No.
thinks no. You say no because it didn't happen.
We're finally in New York for the fall.
It's not about not going pumpkin picking. It's the fact that financially, if you bought that big of a pumpkin at a farm, it would cost so much money. And I can't, like, I can't.
So you just want a really big pumpkin.
I want one. I don't need a million. I just want one big, obnoxiously large pumpkin at a decent price.
But you just told us a story about how they gave you $53 like 6 times at the store.
I
In your
know,
dream.
but that wasn't actual cash. Can you take it out of my dream and put it in my wallet? Because that would be fantastic. How do we make that happen? Let's have a podcast about that, because I need that in my life. But all of this to say, my glue is this pumpkin. If this pumpkin dies, if it doesn't come to fruition, I'm gonna cry. If it lives, I'm gonna sleep with it. I'm gonna name it. It's gonna be my little pumpkin.
Yeah, because there's so much room in our bed.
It's gonna be my little pumpkin. I'm gonna put it on my little nightstand. It's gonna be adorable. Or maybe it will be that huge pumpkin that I really want. Maybe it'll just be huge. It'll just grow and grow and grow.
Just don't feed it to your friends, aka the squirrels.
No, I know. I have to watch those squirrels. So that's my glue. What about you? Tell us about your glue. How are you feeling?
My glue. So my glue for the week is planning. Just obsessively planning. Yeah, I feel like, we talked about it briefly in one of the podcasts, that I've always been resistant to planning. And routine and things like that. But this Mercury retrograde, which is coming to an end tomorrow, has fucked with us to such a degree, or me personally, in terms of my planning. Like the amount of times that I showed up somewhere this week where I wasn't supposed to be, or like not even this past week, but like for the last couple of weeks, like just unbelievable. And just exhausting to have to like pick up the pieces and replan. And so, yeah, just like OCD planning has been the glue. Like triple checking the Google Calendar, triple asking you if you changed something, triple like asking, Antler School a question, like just like making sure that like things are what they seem.
Oh, right. Yeah, like that pumpkin fest was, you don't bring your parent, but you did have to bring your parent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So just, asking the questions, not assuming a damn thing. That has been
It's
my
like hot
glue.
glue. It's like your hot glue because you don't really like it. And it's like almost like you touch it and you're like, ow, I have to plan.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, but that's the medicine of Mercury retrograde, right? It's like, it's, you're just like, go away. But then you're like, oh, I get it. If I do
the
this
lesson.
in my normal life, I won't have these issues, and my life will change in big ways, and it'll be great. So I feel like it's the message I've always gotten, but it's like it's so clear now. It's like blatantly like, you have to do this. You can shit or get off the pot, like,
Yep.
So that's my glue for sure.
What a phrase. Shit or get off the pot.
It's actually a phrase from my mother.
Yeah, it's from my family. Like my mom always said it too. It's like I don't know if it's a Northeast American thing or
Yeah.
just means like get to it or get lost.
Yeah. No nonsense.
No nonsense. Shit or get off.
No dilly dallying.
Move on. I know. I say it in the morning. I feel like we never said it, but now that we're living here, like all of the old things happen when you go visit your family.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're saying phrases and things that you never usually say, or you're craving food that you don't even eat. Right?
Yep.
Like I haven't even eaten that in forever, but I really want it.
Nostalgia takes over.
Yeah, exactly. So. All right, so should we get into our non-parental parent questions?
Yes.
I will say I did want this to be a parent and family episode, so
And so
I would,
yeah.
let's step up the game. Let's
Yes.
step it up because
Yes.
I don't want to make up questions.
And we know that y'all are out there, and we do have some.
Yeah.
We do have some questions, but to me, it's like not enough to really fill like what we're trying to do
Yeah.
with the episode. So
And we actually changed the way that we're taking in the questions now because I felt like we were using that Slido, and I don't know why I didn't just use Google Forms to begin with. I should have just used it to begin with, but I used Slido for whatever reason. And it's not actually anonymous because like it is and it isn't because you can see other people's questions that they post. And I think it was confusing because it had a poll, but we didn't have a poll. So now it's just a Google form, and it's a lot easier to just go there. And I think I'm going to actually have the form live forever too. Like it'll just be the same form so that, because the other thing too is that if you wanted to post a question and you're watching episode 4 and you hit that Slido, you can't. So, I should make a note to go back into the other episodes and change the question there so that you can, you know
True.
what I mean?
True.
So,
Yes.
because people are going back because we're seeing like more viewership in some of the
Yes.
older videos, and so
Yes, and it
which we're
wasn't.
grateful for. Thank you so much.
It wasn't the last video we posted, but the one before that where we posted 2 versions.
Oh, the echo.
The
We had an
one.
echo.
So sorry for anyone that actually made it through that whole episode.
Shout out to the person who left a comment though and let me know.
Yes.
It was such a
Yes.
stupid mistake. It was like
Thank you.
literally during the editing process, right before we ended, I like just had moved over Janie Lee's audio just like a second and a half. And all I had to do was go bloop and fix it. But we already had like 300 people who watched it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you
so it's
watch
like-
that whole echo video, we like you.
Props.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, you're high up there.
Yeah, it seems like half of the people watched that one and half the people watched the other one because if you add the views together, it adds up to the views of the other videos.
Well, it's hard to know. Like you could have went to one and then the other.
True,
But whatever. The point is that it's fixed.
Mm-hmm.
We had an echo issue in the last episode. So the episode that you are just finished has an echo issue. I really tried to fix it. I'm sorry. I spent like way too long trying to fix it. But today, I hope we don't have that issue. We've got the wall up.
Mm-hmm.
Jane Lee's talking more into her microphone.
I am.
Yeah, I don't know. I just talk too loud. Like my voice just like carries.
Projects.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem though because it gets picked up on yours. Because mine never picks you up. But I also make love. I make love to the microphone. I get up in it. Can touch my beard hairs. Oh, ASMR. Ready? I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone liked our feet. So
Yeah,
maybe there's
that's
someone
true.
else out there. What else do you like?
It is the season of fuzzy
Or this?
headbands, in case anybody was wondering. We're getting there.
Yeah,
anyway.
we're getting there.
Okay, questions, right?
Questions. Load them up, baby girl.
Loading them up.
Load them up. We got to get you a Glued Together podcast cover for your computer.
Oh, I would love that.
All right.
That would be nice.
There we go. Gifting season is coming up.
It is.
I'm going to stretch my legs today.
Okay.
Do it.
First question.
First question. Do you want
I'm-
me to read the questions?
You can. Are you?
I
wanting
always
to?
answer first.
Are you saying you would like to? Because I could.
Yeah, well, I'm
Pass
going to
it
read the
over.
questions. We've never done
Just,
this.
don't
You'll be fine.
unplug my mic.
You'll be fine.
Don't unplug my mic.
I'm not going to unplug your mic. Relax. Just give me a little tug.
Got
Here,
it?
Pull it on the other
Oh,
side.
okay.
Just pull it up. There we
Okay.
go. Perfect. All right. Wait, where am I looking? I'm 49. Is that the one I'm reading?
Yes.
I'm 49 and starting my transition. I've been with my wife for 15 years. She's always been a Gold Star lesbian, and I came out as a lesbian when I was 18. Gold Star lesbians represent... That's... If I was a lesbian, that would be me. My fear is, even though she loves me, I'm concerned as I start having more masculine features, she's going to be confused about our relationship and maybe her own identity. Just any relationship advice for a couple like us would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. JC. Yeah, this is definitely like, oh, look, I started talking again first. Genuinely, what are your
He
feelings?
blames it on me reading the questions.
Well, I wasn't blaming you. I'm trying to I'm trying to work on myself. You know what I mean?
No,
And I know
love
that.
it. It's
Okay.
yes.
Jenny Lee, what would you say from your perspective as a cisgender woman who thought she was a lesbian? Or maybe you did. You said you never identified as a lesbian.
So I did identify as a lesbian.
Okay.
I definitely wasn't a gold star lesbian.
Okay.
And to be clear,
Making
a
it
gold
very-
star lesbian is a lesbian who has only ever had sexual experiences with other women.
Yeah, I think the quicker way to say that is just like, you've never had sex with a man.
Right.
As a gold star lesbian.
Right. So, you know, I never really had that full experience. And so I definitely attended groups of lesbians where a lot of those lesbians did have that experience in a big way. I think back to the Southern Comfort Conference. There was a
circa
large
2011.
Yes, that was a conference we went to annually for as long as it actually was held in Atlanta, Georgia. And we met so many of our trans and cis couple friends that we're still friends with today there. And it was just an incredible conference. And yeah, it was really interesting for me to sit in these groups and really hear about these experiences of lesbians that had a lot of resistance and fear arising around their partner's transition. And so, you know, I can only speak for myself. And like I said, I don't have that full experience where I don't have attraction to men or masculine features. I never identified with that fully. And so it is a little different, but what I can say is that attraction can surprise us, you know, because until I met my first female partner that, you know, eventually transitioned, you know, I never thought about being a lesbian. I never thought that I would be. It wasn't something that I ever even considered until I met this person that all of a sudden I was attracted to. And so, you know, that being with that person opened the door for me to, you know, really explore my own attraction and the spectrum of it. And, you know, once I was in that relationship, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I am attracted to certain females, you know, and especially the masculine expressing females, right? Or androgynous ones. Shane from the L Word. Yes, I was one of the girls that had a major crush on Shane from the L Word.
Good old Shane. Good old Shane.
You know, and yeah, Demi Moore in that, like, I don't know, G.I. Jane. I had a crush on her.
Okay.
Like, it, you know,
okay.
like that attraction opened for me and was activated for me through this first relationship when I was 17. And again, I hadn't thought about it before. So what I'm trying to say is that our attraction can shift and be opened and widened and expanded. And, you know, so I understand the anxiety. You know, it's like, sure, that it absolutely could happen that your partner could transition and your attraction could change in a way that doesn't support you being together. But I would also say that the opposite can happen. And I think that a lot of us hold really tightly to our identities, right? Like any change in our identity, whether it's sexual identity or gender identity, right? It's like there's a lot of emotions that come up around that. You know, I really had to, you know, sit with, oh wow, so now I'm a lesbian. What does that mean? And, you know, who am I ready to tell? Am I going to tell anyone? And like just all of those things. And so I think the same thing can happen for anyone, you know, including Gold Star lesbians who are like, I'm a Gold Star lesbian, and if my partner's transitions, that, you know, I can't say that anymore. And so what does that mean about me? And what, you know, and so there's an invitation for us to go deeper within ourselves and ask ourselves these bigger questions around, who am I really? And why am I so attached to this specific identity? So that's my piece on it, I think.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, especially if you've been together for 15 years, it's like you could be really attached to each other outside of the physical. You know what I mean? And even then, it's like, I think that a lot of times when you are deeply attached, then you have a, you know, that those chances of kind of getting through those physical changes, you find the things you like about that person, even though maybe you didn't think you would. And then I think also, like, you know, that's why I think also relationships who are young have a really hard time with transition. You know what I mean? Because they haven't built like that really deep foundation. That's not to say all relationships, but
Yeah.
and I think also it's also like, what about, does your partner feel really attached to this lesbian identity? Because that's okay. Like, does she still want to identify as a lesbian? Maybe she does.
Yeah.
Does she still want to be like, I have a lesbian flag, or I want to go, you know, it's not like just because now she is dating a trans man or a man, like, she can't be who she is. She can still do all, I mean, like, Jane Lee always says, like, I still do all the lesbian things. You know what I mean? Like, I was like jamming out to Tiki and Sarah just like the other day. Like,
Right.
I'm very much, I grew up in the lesbian culture, and so it'll always be a part of me. And I always, if there's not a trans presence, then I always feel more connected to the lesbian presence than the gay man presence, even though I am a man. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's just like, what does that lesbian identity mean to her outside of the physical? Because maybe it's not so much about the physical. Maybe it's really not that big of a, like, maybe you know, it's just a pronoun. Yes, different body features will change, but like, it might be more about what being a lesbian means to her than the actual physical attraction. Because there are a lot of lesbian and like butch studs who like are very masculine, like, you know what I mean? And sometimes I meet them, I'm like, oh, like, are you trans? Are you not? Like, I'm unsure, because to me, I read you as just so masculine and so male presenting. You know what I mean? But they're not, right? And it's like, if you can fall in love with someone like that, then, I mean, is it really about them being a woman and identifying as a cisgender woman, or is it just like about what you like?
Yeah, I think you hit on something really big with just the invitation to explore. Is it really about the physical changes, or is it about this attachment to the lesbian identity for all these other reasons, right? And really being able to sit down and have that conversation about what does being a lesbian mean to you, you know, could be really productive, I think, for both people. Because, you know, maybe the transitioning person was like, I have no intention of those things changing. I have no intention of us, you know, doing X, Y, and Z differently. And, you know, so I think it's really about.
And if you do, you need to have that conversation too.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, like, you know, being willing to face your fear and face yourself and face the truth of your attachment and like what holds your attachment together, I think is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't, you know, yeah. So it says relationship advice. Talk about.
And the thing that I say every single time this question arises in my whole life,
the eyes thing. I
the
gotta say the eyes thing.
do not change. So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. I mean,
some people could find that comforting and some people could not.
Yeah. But
right?
to me, like, that's what has kept me grounded in, I'm still with the same person.
Right. Right. Yeah. And like, if I've changed, it's because I'm a growing human being and not because like I'm actually a different person.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. This one's a little spicy.
Okay. Spice us up.
Spice us up. Early 30s trans man, fully medicated, medically transitioned, married to an early 30s female, 9 years. And I found out she had an affair with her coworker. The affair was caught by me within 4 weeks. When she got caught, she admitted it and said she wanted to work on things with us. She says she doesn't know what happened, and she says she wants counseling for us so we can heal. Initially, I said no. I wanted a divorce. But then I changed my mind because I love her. Since this has happened, she has cut ties, deleted the number, and blocked the girl and told her in person that they are done. For the last week since this happened, my mind has gone all over the place. We have a therapy session scheduled in 2 weeks, but I'm feeling like I'm lost. I can't eat and I can't sleep. I'm devastated. My question is, how do I make the right decision to stay and deal with this with these consistent thoughts of her potentially doing this again if I stay? And if I divorce, I'll be hurt. But if I stay, I'll be hurt. If you have advice, please, I could use it. Thank you. Oh, man. I hate cheating. Like, advice. Like, just don't cheat. I feel like it would. I
Or
feel
don't
like,
be in a monogamous relationship.
yes, don't cheat. Don't be in a monogamous relationship. If you feel like you're going to cheat, it's like, just have a conversation. I feel like that's probably, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to have sex with someone, I hope you would tell me instead of going and doing it. But that's not the question.
Yeah. So I think too, like, sorry, were you not? You can keep going.
No. You can finish that, and then we should.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
I go off on tangents.
I was going to say one thing.
Yeah,
is just that whenever I hear this kind of story, it definitely seems like there has been a breakdown in communication and being on the same page with each person's contentment and happiness within the relationship. Because I know that a lot of people think it just happened, but like there was like an emotional lead up to it.
I've never cheated on anyone, but there's just always a moment. Like, there has to be. Like, there's a moment, there's been other things that I've done that I've just been like, I'm just going to do it. And it was like not a good choice, right? Like, whatever that might have been. I don't know. Like,
right. Like an impulsive choice.
Yeah, like an impulsive choice where you're like, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it. Like, when I think about like shopping, like I'll buy something.
Right.
Or I'll think about when I'm like, I probably shouldn't smoke this bowl right now. Like back when I used to smoke weed, and I'm like, I'm just gonna smoke the bowl. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like a long question. It's just like a moment, right? And I feel like that, and I think that even happens like probably in our relationships outside. Like, if someone is flirting with you, there's a moment where you're like, am I gonna continue to flirt with this person, or am I going to stop flirting with this person? Right? Like, there's just always like a conscious moment.
Yes. Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, there's an invitation for a conscious moment, and it doesn't mean that everyone's taking the cue of receiving the invitation or open to receiving the invitation. But when you know what your values are in your relationship and you're on the same page with that, and like this is something that I'm gonna work to protect, and I'm gonna be open to guidance around how to protect it, because it's something I want to preserve and I want it to last. And so, it's really, I've thought a lot about, this betrayal, right? Just like not being true to someone else a lot of the times is a reflection of us not being true to ourselves. So that person that's not being true to you is like in some way not being true to themselves, not living in their authenticity, or not telling themselves the truth about their true needs. And so like that's how they go down this road of confusion, or and so again, everyone's different. This is a really personal thing, and I think every couple is unique, but at the end of the day, every individual is unique and has their own range of tolerance for
That's a good point.
for these things,
Yeah.
for these types of things, because we have Aiden and I are 100% monogamous, and we're on the same page about that, and we we work to preserve and protect our relationship, and we have friends that are so comfortable with not living in monogamy,
being polyamorous and
yeah,
different. We have a couple of different. We don't have a lot of friends, but the friends we do have, I'd say like 25% of them are polyamorous in some way or non-monogamous.
Right.
But I just want to say quick,
Yeah.
I appreciate that call in, because I feel like you're right. Like, I'm sorry that I prefaced answering this question with my personal feelings of like cheating, because that's not. We also have couples who have had people who cheated on, or like there's been cheating within the relationship, and they stayed together, and we support their decision. So I think that like, yeah, I just apologize for kind of leading with that, because I don't want to skew your feelings, because in my mind, when I read this question, like, I'll answer it quick. You have maybe more of a personal connection to the question, but like, I think for me, therapy for the two of you, 100% needed. Therapy for you, 100% needed, like outside of her. And then also I think that like, what I do believe is that if you're going to stay in the relationship, you need to actually forgive them. It's never going to work. If you're nervous all the time, it's never going to work. And it'll take time. It's not like you're like, okay, I forgive you and I trust you with every ounce of my being again. It'll take time, but that's where the therapy comes in. Like, you have to work on that forgiveness and that trust again, and like, have clear boundaries of like where you're at with that person, so you can let them know that like, I want to trust you when you go out on Saturday night alone with your friends, but like in this moment, because of what's happened in the last year, I really need a lot of communication when you're out. I need you to, you know what I mean? Just like working on your trust with them in an open way, and also asking yourself like, can I actually forgive this person? Because I think that's another question. So I think it's like
very personal.
Yeah, like maybe you want to forgive them and you just don't think you can. Because I think the other thing is like, I always say, like, if I'm cheated on, like, it's done. But I don't know. I've never had it done to me. You know what I mean? So, or at least I haven't known that it has happened to me. So like, I don't know what would happen. Maybe in my mind right now, I'm like, that's a no. But maybe if it happened, I'd be like, well, I don't know, like, what are the circumstances? And I love this person and this, you know what I mean? So I think it's like like you said, like, it's so personal and unique, and everyone has to make the choice for themselves. And I think what I'm just suggesting is like sitting down and really thinking about if you think forgiveness is possible for you, and if it is, what does that road look like? And then going over it with that person, so that they're not just like, well, they forgave me and we're in therapy now and we're going to be better and everything's fine. You know what I mean? Is that clear? Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think, from my experience, because I, definitely come from a previous relationship where there was cheating done to me in cycles over and over again. And so, I had to come to terms with, this clearly, there's no sign of this changing, especially because I'm willing to participate in doing the emotional work and, going to therapy and like just really doing these deep dives to figure out, how can we change this together? But I was the only one that wanted to participate in that. And so I think that you have to be honest with yourself. Are each of you showing up fully in your efforts to mend this and to heal this and to take responsibility and accountability for whatever part that you play in it or don't play. And I think that if that's true, right? If you are seeing, yeah, you know, she is showing up and it is consistent, and, you know, like that can possibly create the space for you to open to forgiveness. But you have to, again, continue to be really, really honest with yourself about whether or not that's true. Because I think that a lot of the times if we love someone and we want to make it work, we end up chasing after them. We end up trying to do their work for them. We end up, you know, trying, you know, like we become obsessive and controlling and wanting to see their phone and checking up on them and having our friends follow them, or like just really desperate things because you want to prove that they have changed. And the only person that can prove that is them. And if they're not making those efforts to prove that, or to show that, oh yeah, like this is different, I am putting in that work, then it can be exhausting. I know, like for me, I just had decided, like, I know that I'm never really going to trust this person. And I know that if I continue on this path, I'm going to be so fatigued in this relationship because trying to do all this person's work is so exhausting. And so I just decided to leave that relationship and work on myself and, you know, set new standards for myself in relationships. And, you know, that's how I attracted this amazing partner.
Hello.
And honestly, yeah, and that's how it works. It's like you close the door on one vibration or one experience and you open the door to a new one. And so if she's on board and she's like, this was like, you know, whatever, and I'm, you know, in a new place and I would never even fathom that again, amazing, and work on it. And, you know, but this is a you question, you know, like even if she says all that, you still get to decide, can I truly can I have peace in this relationship? Will I rest my head at night and not stay up waiting to be able to check her phone? Or, you know, just really asking yourself those big questions, those real, raw, deep questions. That's my best suggestion, because otherwise it can be really hard and exhausting.
Yeah. So I think that this leads us into this other question, which I think is really great. What are your tips for couples that want to communicate better? I feel like this is like, right, because we're talking a lot about communication and stuff. So I feel like I'm just going to try to do like more like, you know, like what are the tips? So in no particular order, tip number 1, let's go tip for tip. Okay. And we didn't look at this. So these, you know, they're just off the top of the dome, right? Tip number 1 for ways that couples can communicate better. I feel like, don't use explicit language in your communication. So do not curse. And that, like, to me, that's even like small curses, like shit or shitty, like just like like the small ones that you even can hear on the WB on TV.
The WB.
I don't know. I'm aging myself, right? But like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that no cursing, that would be my number 1 tip, is like, do not curse. It's fine to curse, like if you're like talking, but like if you are trying to communicate with one another, no cursing. Your tip. We're going tip for tip.
Okay, the first tip that comes to mind is give space. Because when you give space, even when you don't want to give space.
Such a hard one.
Even when you don't want to give space, right? Like, let's say like your partner wants space and you don't want to give space, or you want space and your partner doesn't want to give space. Like either one, like each person needs to recognize like, this is for the higher good.
I hate giving Jane Lee space. I hate it.
Yes, he
And
definitely
I don't do,
dislikes.
like, I'm like 50-50. It's a 50% chance I will actually give her space.
Right. Well, the 50% chance that like that you will like zip the lips in time to give me space.
I know. It's so bad. I try
But
though.
when we do it, it's successful
Yeah.
because I personally, I feel intensely very fast, and so I need time. Like, I need time to work myself back down from that to then have a conversation. Because the other part that plays into that for me, is the tone. Like because my tone is.
Oh, so that's tip number 3.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
okay.
stole
We're doing like a
your-
snake draft. Like,
Okay, so
I'll go, then you go twice, and
Okay.
I go twice. Like that.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I feel like this one leads into like give space because that will allow you to gather your tonality in your voice to then have a more productive conversation. And Aiden is really sensitive to tone in my voice and can sense and read into the tone in my voice really easily. And so everyone's different in that way. But for us, really checking our tone and, giving whatever space is needed in order to do that is so important.
Your mic kind of moved. Just a heads up.
You're right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I
Good
can tell
call.
by the
I think I
bars.
sat on it or something. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. So tip number 4. I'm forgetting what they were. We should reiterate. Tip number 1, no cursing. Tip number 2, give space. Tip number 3, watch your tone. Oh, I'm remembering. Okay. Tip number 4 for couples that want to communicate better. Tip number 4. What else? Because you said 2 good ones. Tone would have been one that I said too. I would say tip number 4 is to recognize when communication is possible. So to elaborate on that, I work on this so much. I'm probably more of like an 80-20% of the time I can 20% of the time I can actually do it. And I even right now I'm in the middle of doing this right now. Recognizing when you can actually have clear communication. And so like the example is I have a potential trip with a friend of mine and Jaylee and I need to talk about it. And I am just like, what's it called? What's that saying? Nipping at the something? Biting at the tongue? I don't know. I want to talk about it. Like I've been done want to talk about this like 2 days ago. But she was like, oh, I'm not feeling this kind of way. I'm not feeling grounded. Oh, I have this happening. Oh, so I've just been like, okay. And I asked you, I was like, even in that conversation, I said a little too much, but I was working on it. I was like, so it sounds like you're not ready to talk about this right now. What do you think about on Friday? Like, what do you think about on Friday? And they falls asleep in the car and we talk about it. And she was like, yeah, I feel like that'll be fine. It'll be after my ceremony. I was like, okay, great.
Mercury will have gone direct.
Yes. And so I am just, it is so hard because I want to talk to her about it. But I know that is not a good time. Like the conversation isn't going to go as well. And our communication is going to be all kind of like messy because, I have this anxiousness to get an answer. She's got all these other thoughts going on. You know what I mean? So just like recognizing, and you can do that by yourself. You don't always have to have the conversation with the other person. Like there's many times where I'm just like, Jaylee's not in a good mood. And then I don't know why, but my mouth is like, I'm going to say something that's not helpful. and it's like so hard for me not to say it. And it's hard because it's like, I won't say it. And then 5 minutes go by and I won't say it. And then I don't see her for a few hours and I see her and I'm like, oh, I'm going to say it. And I'm like, don't say it. Why are you going to say it? And usually like, if that goes on for too long, I end up saying it. And then I'm always like, I knew I shouldn't have talked to you about this. I knew you were in a bed. I think I even said this out loud last time. I'm like, I knew you were in a good mood. I don't know why I even brought it up. Like this was a mistake. So recognizing like when communication can actually happen and then even setting a time if that needs to happen. Like we set like this kind of assumed time. If this happens, then we can have the conversation. So, that would definitely be tip number 4.
So checking in
Yeah. Checking in on
before having a conversation, checking in to make
Yeah.
sure that like
Yes. To communicate better. Because I think that like you'll learn too. You know what I mean? Like you'll learn like, yeah, I didn't think you were in a good mood, and now you've just confirmed that you're not in a good mood and you don't want to talk about that. So that's helpful. You know what I mean? So let's do one more. Let's do 5. Our 5 top tips
I have one. Do you have one?
for couples that want better communication.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make some content.
Brought to you by the Glued Together podcast. You can go.
Okay. So
'Cause I feel like tone is like both of ours. Like I feel like that's actually mine, but I've talked to you and we've worked so much on it that like
yeah,
learned it.
I think my last tip, and I know we definitely have brushed upon this in other episodes, but I think it's a major tip for communication for couples.
major tip coming in.
Not expecting it to be perfect. Not expecting yourself to be perfect, not expecting your partner to be perfect. Like Aiden is saying, like he's like working on that one tip, and he
Right,
knows
and I
that
fail 80% of the
he
time.
knows that 20% of the time he's making it, but like he also knows it's such an important thing, and like so it's that happens, right? And so like my strengths in the tips are different from yours, and like yours are going to be different from your partner's, but like just knowing that like progress, like you really have to look for sometimes like the really small moments of progress and really celebrate those, because this is hard stuff.
Yeah.
This is not easy stuff that we're talking about and engaging in.
So as a recap, if my brain can remember, don't curse. I want to do it. 5 tips from the Glued Together podcast for couples that want to communicate better. Number 1, do not curse. Number 2, give space. Number 3, check your tone. Number 4, recognize when's the right time. Check in for if it's a good time to actually communicate. And number 5, don't expect perfection and recognize the progress.
Yes.
Like I almost want to just call it like recognize the progress. Don't, you know what I mean? Like keeping it positive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like, so what we just did is like, we just named our top 5 ways that Jaylee and I have committed to each other, and committed to our communication together, and how that is going to make our lives better and our relationship stronger. And, usually ends up in having better sex, because I feel like isn't that what we're all here for?
Definitely.
So I'm putting a challenge out to like every couple here, like do this. You should go back and forth and come up with what you feel is like your most important things to have better communication. List the first top 5 or 10, and then maybe like hang it up somewhere and like, think about, hey, like, we said that, like if something happens, it'd be like, hey, like we said that, for us to communicate really good, like tone is important. And I'm noticing like, I feel like your tone is getting really strong. Do you need some space? Or rather, even asking them, just being like, I need space. Like, because I can't handle your tone right now. So I think I need some space. Maybe you do. I don't know. Because sometimes when you tell your partner what they need, that's a really, like, they go off. But you could say, like, I need some space because your tone is really harsh right now. And nothing's going to be perfect. Like, I love that. Like, you're going to still fight. That's the whole point of needing and working on communication, is because, like, we're all just, like, fighting. Like pissing each other off, you know what I mean? Like, and that's
right. And it's, but recognizing those small moments of progress is huge, because like I was saying before, like if you're the only one that's making an effort at all, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Right. That's a red flag. If you're the only one that's making any effort, and you don't have to be perfect. Nobody does.
Right.
But it's about showing up and really trying, and owning when you were, it's like, I didn't use any of the tips just now.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So I just, I definitely need space or whatever,
I loved this episode. This was I loved the end of this episode. I didn't tell anyone to like the video. We're so bad. I was always bad at this. Like this was.
I have something too.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Well, I've just always been bad at like telling people to like and subscribe. I didn't grow up in that world where, like, I grew up in the '90s where like that was a sellout, but now it's like everyone says it every 5 seconds, like buy my merch, like, and that's fine, like no shade, but like the video, comment, leave a question at the Google form. The link is in the description box, or you can email us at gluedtogetherpodcast@gmail.com.
And please do share this video if you liked it on your Facebook page, in your Facebook groups,
Send it to a
anywhere,
friend.
anywhere on your social media. Text it to your friends or maybe your group
Do all the
texts.
things.
Because we're trying to grow, we're trying
Yeah.
to expand.
Yeah. And so leave a comment below. What is your number one tip for better communication? And
Oh yeah, I definitely want to hear some more.
the holiday season is coming. Do you want merch? I'm kind of curious,
True. Yeah, and what kind of merch? Like what?
I would
what do
just
you
imagine,
want
like, a
that's
shirt.
like?
but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really liked the shirts that we wore
Right.
that one episode.
So studies show that you shouldn't ask too many questions.
True.
Or then they won't do it. So it's more just like, what do you want to leave us a comment on? You pick one of the below. If everyone did this, it'd be amazing, right? Even if 50% of you did this, if 50% of you drop us a question, okay? This is not going to equal 100. 50% of you write what your what a tip for communicating better is, and 50% of you let us know if you want some merch. It's okay if you don't. I'm just curious. Like, what I don't want to do is like we don't have time. Like, I don't want to like go through making all this merch and setting up this shop and then like nobody buys it. You know what I mean? So it's okay if you don't want it, but if you do want it, you need to let us know. So
Definitely.
that was the longest ending we've done so far, but thank you so much for sticking with us.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun. This is our second time doing it in the daytime, and I think it's working really well. So
Yeah,
just thank you
definitely.
so much for this opportunity to talk to y'all, to hear from
Yeah.
y'all. We love
Yeah,
you. Thank
thanks
you so
for-
much for the support.
Yeah. Thanks for trusting us with your questions.
Yeah.
And
We will catch you in the next episode.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.